Alright guys, welcome back for more Path of Exile. So in this part, we're going to talk about Doriani's prototype. So this is the item that I've been talking about for a long time, the one that I've been trying to get, and it's not very cheap to actually get. It's kind of expensive. At the moment, it's anywhere from like 5 to 7 divines. But this item is amazing. What it's going to do is allow us to get negative lightning resistance, and that will also apply to our enemies, being super, super good for bosses. But in some of the gameplay that I had as like intro, like little highlights and stuff, I was still using the Impulsa, and Impulsa is still really great as an armor. However, if you really want to get like top tier DPS, most builds right now in this league are actually running this, and that's because it's very powerful. But there is a downside to it, is if you take any lightning damage, you're just going to instantly rip if it's a damage over time or a degen that does lightning damage, because even though it has this text over here where it says armor also applies to lightning damage taken from hits, it does not also apply that to degens or things that are on the ground. You're just going to melt instantly. It's part of it. It's kind of like a give and take. Do you want that insane DPS, or do you want to actually be able to survive? There are other things like Mana Siphoner, which is an Arch Nemesis modifier, which will just melt you instantly because it does a lightning. It's like a degen area. But let's go and roll in a map, and I'll show you guys the gameplay of this. We've already killed Cirrus. I've killed him with and without prototype. Obviously prototype is pretty good, and this is like the item we got off of him, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and go on in. I want to talk a little bit more about how cool this build is, because this build, you can basically play anything lightning related. So I'm gonna go ahead and we'll just throw on this map over here. We have Arid Lake. Okay, I like Arid Lake. The reason why is I can show you how fast we can eliminate bosses with the prototype, as that's basically the huge draw with it. I mean, we were already one-shotting everything anyways for the most part in terms of the trash mobs. Then the Impulso explodes, right? We've already shown off that gameplay. What I want to show off now is how good it is against bosses. Okay, great, perfect. There's a Legion that spawned in. So specifically against bosses, we will be basically able to melt bosses, Arch Nemesis monsters a lot faster. Look at that. Look at how many mods that Arch Nemesis had, and it's just dead. And that's because we're applying our resistance, which is negative, what are we at for resistances? Almost 300. There's actually extra lightning pen, which isn't calculated in that little like sheet there. But we are going to be able to melt content super fast. We can even use like Vol Arc. That would be pretty good to also equip if you want to, because we lose out on the Impulsa. And any Mana Siphoner. Oh, nice. We got an Exalt. Cool. All right, but you're seeing how fast we're able to delete these Arch Nemesis monsters, right? And that is kind of the most important thing. Anything that's going to deal an insane amount of damage to us pretty much at this point, because we're at like 6k HP here. In terms of our defenses, we're all res capped, with the exception of the lightning resistance. We actually want the negative resistances on that. So let's go ahead and fight this boss real quick, and I will show you how much damage we can do with this addition here. And I'll also explain like some of the rings that we got, some of the other things here. That will be nice. What do we get? An Onyx Amulet? Okay, the Carnage Heart. Ooh, a Granite Flask. Lion's Roar. This is a great little thing over here. But, yeah, very, very strong build in terms of survivability, with the exception of lightning degens. But that applies to all of them. It's not like you can really do anything for the build that, you know, is really easy to do to convert. You can technically convert the lightning damage you take to another element, but for the most part, you just kind of got to accept that if there is like a Mana Siphoner, you got to move out of the way. Ooh, look at all of those wet stones, man. Okay, let's go find the boss and delete the boss real quick. We got another map. Cool. Oh, got another strong box. So yeah, we're still cleaning up stuff relatively fast because Arc is still really good. I really do like the explosions, though, that you do get with the Impulsa. And I actually think if you're just looking to clear maps, because at this point, you do what you want to do. You know, I'm going to show you guys these as options. Personally, I prefer Impulsa over running Prototype. Like, yeah, I might have to spend a little bit longer on the boss fight, but Impulsa is going to clean up the map a lot faster, right? So there is kind of a give and take. So you want to be within a relatively closer range, right? So, I mean, we're killing bosses a lot faster for sure. Anything under 5 seconds to me is like great. And if you're looking at 10-second boss fights, which is kind of about what it was, depending on, you know, how much you juice up the map to make it increased in difficulty, that can matter. But I'm here to go ahead and show you guys the gear that we got. I don't think we've upgraded this in a really long time, but I have changed my movement ability. I believe before we were running Flame Dash. Right now I'm running Dash, and I'm running Anomalous Second Wind with it. It's just kind of up to you and what you want to use for your mobility. You can run Frost Blink, do whatever you want to do, but I did reach the amount of dexterity required, so I like Dash. What Dash does is it just kind of activates, and it lets you go in like in a direction without having a cast animation, which I just kind of like how it feels, but I didn't have the dex required for a very high level one before. Had dex roll on these gloves. I'm pretty sure we've been using the same pair of gloves for a while, but we're also running Arcane Surge support in it. You don't have to run Second Wind. That just gives us extra cast. So like you can see now I only have one cast of it, but if I run the Second Wind, I can cast it up to 3 times because I've got quality in this one. But this doesn't really matter. Running Defiance Banner here. I don't know if we've gotten an upgrade here in a while, but I'm just going to mouse over the pieces of gear. Keep in mind, everything's just kind of suggestions for you. Now, before I was running some boots that had elemental penetration, but actually now we can scale and get this enchantment called, or it says with the effect of it adds 1 to 20 lightning damage if you haven't killed recently. Since we're going to have an insane amount of like amount of negative resistance applied to the enemy, getting the extra elemental penetration is a lot worse than getting this. As in, like, you'd rather get the damage. But we have some stats on this. It basically was just used to get the res cap over here. Basically, on every single piece of gear, if you want to go to prototype, right, you're going to want to remove all of your resistances in lightning that can be on the tree, as well as with originally, I leveled up this character and I told you guys to get Illyria because it's great for leveling. However, if you do go this route and you want to do the prototype, because it's kind of expensive, and again, I'm going to mention that if there is certain damage types, you will die instantly. It's just, you gotta accept it. Pretty much, once you're at about like 95-ish, it's okay, I would say. Once you're about level 95, you can swap to this. Keep in mind, you may not level up after you apply prototype, because prototype will cause you to just instantly die to certain gameplay mechanics that you may not have control over. Like if an Arch Nemesis rolls with mods where it just jumps on you instantly and it has that degen, you're just dead. It's just kind of how it works. You gotta accept it. But if you don't want to accept it, you're like, dude, I want my build to be ultra tanky. I mean, I've tried to make it super tanky with also having Primal Aegis to, you know, deal with some of these. The Mana Siphon, I basically have a few seconds to react with it, but there are certain mechanics where, like, it's just way too fast and you might not see it. It'll jump off screen. Things happen. It's Path of Exile, and with this League mechanic, well, it's mostly just like the Arch Nemesis mechanic that they've just thrown in the game. You will run into monsters that will absolutely obliterate you regardless. Even some of the best players, we're talking max level 100, like people that grind this game, and that's like, they're just a Twitch streamer that only plays PoE, as I'm a content creator that plays multiple games. Don't feel like it's just you, or like maybe there's something wrong with this build. Prototype will do that. Even some of the best players, not even running Doriani's prototype, they're just dying to Arch Nemesis because they're way overtuned at the end of the day still. It's a kind of a complaint in the community right now, but maybe things will be changed in the future. Nonetheless, I've tried to make it as tanky as possible, and certain things will still eliminate you. It's just part of the game. And we've got Determination, we've got 6k, we're all defensed out in terms of like our damage reduction. We've got 90 fizz reduction. 90%. But like for the most part, yeah, things can just hit you for absurd amounts of damage. I've even kept the Primal Aegis. However, on the tree, here's the tree. I'll just kind of go over it real quick. Nothing too spectacular. I'm still running pretty much the same stuff. But I'll link the POB down below in case any of you guys do want to copy it, or the PoE Ninja as well. But it's just kind of there as a reference. We got this amulet over here. I anointed Charisma so we can actually throw in... Oh, the only new thing I added actually was Herald of Thunder, because I got this amulet, and because now I don't need Whispers of Doom, which is the original thing that I was running to apply negative lightning resistance as well. I decided to go with Charisma because getting the flat numbers off of Herald of Thunder will be better than getting more negative resistance, because we've already got an insane amount of negative resistance. So these are the rings that I picked up. Don't try to look for the exact same thing. You probably won't find, it's going to be like near impossible to find the same mirrored rings. So what you're looking for, what I mean by mirrored, by the way, is not like I used a mirror to copy this. It's like, it's just like the Lake of Kalandra rings. Only important stat, you want to get life hopefully get some sort of resistance, but not lightning resistance. This one has negative 77 to lightning resistance. You want the negative resistance. Now, if you do want to, you can also look for Thread of Hopes. There's a lot of other ways to get negative resistance in the game. I've already mentioned before. Heck, this was, I think, the last few parts. The Immortal Flesh. That was something that I really like. This belt. It's a really cool belt. Let me see if I have one over here, where it gives you negative resistances. That's another way to apply negative resistance. All the negative resistance that you apply in a lot of sources in this game will give you a really nice benefit. But keep in mind, depending on what you get, this is like negative to all resist. You just want negative lightning resist. But I got this ring over here, another negative 90, negative 89 over here. So just a bunch of negative resistances. But there are going to be other like downsides. Like we have reduced evasion rating with this one, but we don't apply evasion rating. So some of the things don't really hurt that much. Like this one over here, we lose maximum energy shield. However, energy shield doesn't really apply to us, so keep that in mind as well. Like, you want to try to get the least amount of negative stuff applied to you. So I'm still running arc, I'm running crit damage, crit support. You could probably drop crit support depending on how much crit that you have, because I did get extra crit. We can maybe spec out of that. But I also did get the crit master, which gives us +3. +3 levels normally sounds really, really good on most gems. However, it does also apply to inspiration, which is kind of nice. So that's cool. We got Spell Echo over here. We could maybe go get, if I wanted to get even more damage, I get Awaken Spell Echo support. We can get more damage off of that. I could get a Vault Arc instead of this because we're no longer level 26. Level 26 on Arc is a lot better than 25 because it gives us a chain +1, which is 15% more damage just on the flat attack for bosses. It's huge. If you can somehow get a +2 to lightning skills instead of my +1, that'd be big. Or specifically, however you get it, you can also get a corrupted chest piece over here on a prototype that gives you +2 level of skill gems or lightning skill gems or whatever you can get to in your build. That would be ideal. If you can't get it, again, we're pretty much at this point. Like, I've already did Cirrus, we've done Shaper. We could probably do the Ubers with this, again, depending on, like, for example, I believe the Shaper's Beam is also like a lightning dot. There's a few things that just do damage over time that are lightning, which are going to make things much more difficult if you decide to go for this route. I'm actually going to be swapping up this build over here, and I'm going to give you guys kind of a sneak preview of kind of what I want to do to this. And everything I'm mentioning, as always, it's optional. I mean, at this point, this build can do whatever you want to do. Even with Impulsa, you could do whatever the game has in terms of content. I made the build relatively tanky because I unspec'd out of the Allura tree, and I decided to go with just the 2 extra skill points, which this added extra int and dex, and then it let me get like different nodes or something like that, and we just basically got extra skill points through that. But this is the tree, just in case any of you guys want to look at it. We had some skill points over here. I just unspec'd out of them and went for more crit, so I wouldn't have to stretch as far, because at this point, this is what I wanted to do. And right now, I was actually thinking about making this build, because I mentioned this build could basically do most things in the game, as long as it deals lightning damage. And I got the gameplay for you guys. I was actually testing out a few different things. So, this is going to be the minions here. So let me go ahead and share screens. So, this is another map. This is the exact same character that we're playing. We did modify the tree a little bit, and if I remember, I'll link the POBs and PoE ninjas for some of these as well. Keep in mind, these are basically roughly thrown together. So, what this one is that you guys are seeing right now, this is Absolution. So remember how I was saying my build's going to be able to do basically whatever you want to do in the game. If you want to play minions, you can play minions. If you want to play melee, you can play melee. Although if you're a beginner, I would recommend stay away from melee and PoE until it gets buffed. Melee is in a really bad spot for bosses in particular. Also, with a lot of the degens that are just in the game, melee, it needs a buff. You can just Google PoE melee is terrible, and you'll find lots of content creators talking about this. So I want to say they probably have that on their radar, that melee will be getting buffed. But you can see this is Absolution. We can shred content. It's no problem. Also over here, this is Lightning Strike. This is a melee build that if you want to, you can play this one as well. Again, I'll try to remember to put the POBs. I believe this is still running Impulsa. In fact, most of the gameplay was Impulsa as well. Prototype, however, will increase your damage by a lot, but it's specifically the bosses that you'll see a big difference. This is still, again, running the Impulsa over here. But you'll see the clear speed is still very, very fast on this. I can get it even faster. This was, I think, Paradoxica. But what I think I want to do is run Paradoxica and Savior, which is, these are some unique items. And then I want to also run Flicker Strike. We're going to have some fun with that. But watch this on this boss. Okay, this is, I don't know if I show the level off right here. But, like, we do happen to have some shrines here. But, like, I really like how fast you can just delete things if you happen to have that speed shrine. It's really nice to get the additional action speed. I think we had the boots with action speed. But yeah, Lightning Strike, if you really want to play melee, that can be an option as well. I think we're still running Dodris in this gameplay. I've even made this build able to be bows. So this is just with bows. This is like relatively like budget too. What I mean by that is usually with like bows, you want a lot of additional arrows. This is only one additional arrow with this one. With this build, I wanted to do basically everything. And again, this is with Impulsa. If you want to use Prototype, you can still shred content super, super fast. But I'm just going to go ahead and just mix it up in terms of the gameplay. Let me just speed to where, okay, there's a Legion over here. We just defeated the boss. But like you can see, this build, as long as you deal lightning damage with whatever skill that you want to use, you can melt content pretty fast. This is a boss over here. I just want to show you guys like how fast it just cleans up. Lightning Arrow is great for cleaning up content, but like particular on some of the Arch Nemesis, you'll notice maybe that the damage, it takes a while, but specifically on bosses, that Prototype will be super, 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 super good with. But yeah, we're able to basically clean up content. Let me look at this amount of life. I think we had a shrine at this point, but like you guys see, we already have 6k life. So basically with this build, I'm really satisfied. I'm happy with it. Again, you can complete all the content that you wish to complete in this game. Just keep in mind, if you do decide to go the Prototype route, I mean, like I mentioned before, we've already gotten all of the maps done, all 155 maps done with this exact build, and then we've also already got a bunch of the cosmetics, although there's like a bunch of like VFX here, but we got the weapon one, we got the wings. The build's capable of doing pretty much all you would need to do in the game, but if you decide to go for the Prototype, again, remember that degens will melt you immediately, but also, some really quick things that I do want to mention is if you really want to min-max, you can look for anomalous golems, because I am an elementalist. Most of these golems are going to be level 21 that I upgraded. Hold on, it's like, for example, we take the stone golem. I bought a bunch of level 21s. If you really want to go even further, you buy anomalous golems of every single type that you're running, which is going to be ice, chaos, lightning, fire, and stone golem. You just don't run carry on because it doesn't apply to us. But you want to have these golems have the anomalous tag in the gem. What that's going to do is the amount of regen that you get, or whatever the stat is for the golem, it gets increased by up to, I believe, 20% on most of them. But those are very expensive. They can be very pricey, especially if you want a level 21 variant of them. So that's another way to get upgrades. We've got Assassin's Mark. If I really wanted to upgrade this, I can go buy a level 21 just for like 1% extra damage. Like, all of these things slowly start to add up. But pretty much at this point, I'm really happy with the build, and I plan to actually maybe try out some other things with the same build, because this is awesome. It lets you just do so much. Again, I already showed you guys gameplay. It's all the same exact character. Now, the tree will be slightly different. For the minion ones, you're going to have to get a couple minion nodes, but you end up getting this minion node that makes it so all of the minion damage affects us. And then, like, since we're not running arc, I have, like, what is it? Non-projectile chains and additional time. That won't apply if we're doing certain skills. For example, like, if we're doing the bow one, we may not want this, or if we're doing like a melee, we may not want, this lightning mastery of the non-projectile. So you'll have to change a few different things, but if I remember, I'll put the POBs, but it's not really that big of a difference. And if you want to still, or actually I can recommend this as well. If you want to run, do I have Thunder Fist on this? Okay, I had Thunder Fist somewhere. I just don't remember like where we put the Thunder Fist. But if you do want to play with Thunder Fist, because Prototype getting it 6-linked is kind of expensive, you can buy a non-6-link and then just run your Thunder Fist and then get your 6-link over on your, or not your 6-link, but your Thunder Fist, which is basically a pseudo 5-link. You can just run this, and then your Prototype can be a whatever. It doesn't matter the links on that, because you're using this for your damage. But yeah. That's pretty much going to round up the video over here. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and let me know how your league is going. Right now, mine, it's going pretty good, just because we literally just dropped this. We got 10 divines. Well, it's like, we have 4 cards of the 10 Divine, so this would be a nice big thing that we can sell and get hopefully some currency with this. But anyways, that's going to go wrap it up. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on your well, and I will see you guys in maybe another video in the future when I actually change up the build, and I'll show you guys what we do with them. But you can do everything with this build. Like, it's already been done, and now I'm kind of curious to see how far we can take this in terms of what else can we do with this build. Like I said, I got some really cool plan to make the build super fast, although we'll have to do some testing with it, because the thing with Flicker Strike is you can't really control where you go. So if there's a mana siphoner, yeah, you're gonna be forced to jump into basically death unless you do enough damage to one-shot the enemy. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.